What's up, guys, and welcome back to Gabe Miller Music. Today I want to talk about making your music production more portable. And I'm not going to be putting a heavy focus on grooveboxes because I've already made a ton of videos about that, but instead kind of stuff surrounding it. This was prompted by Analog Cases getting in touch with me and wanting to send me a few cases, so I'm going to start this video off by doing like a semi-unboxing and like little review demonstration of them. They're not sponsoring this video, but they did send the product over for free, and I figured this would be a good way to kind of showcase the cases, pun not intended, and just discuss some other ways to make your music production more portable, kind of assuming you already own like a portable synth or groovebox. The folks over at Analog Cases were nice enough to send these over. This is like a semi-demo review. I'm definitely not an expert on stuff like this, but I wanted to feature it. This is the case for the Roland MC101. They've got a ton that are like custom built for different devices. Like that's like super snug in there. And I could probably fit a little cable in here somewhere, or maybe on top here because there's space for that. Just something to protect my devices, because typically they'll just kind of live in my backpack and they do get thrown around a bit, thrashed a little bit. Like I've already got some scratches on my 101. I've probably damaged the pads on my circuit a little bit. And having these for protection of these devices that a lot of us use day in, day out, super nice to have. This one is custom built for the OG circuit. I'm sure they're working on one for the new circuit, but like this would fit the circuit, but it would rattle around a little bit. And I'll show that in a second, but that's worth knowing going in. And for this too, I'd probably have room to fit like a charging cable or an AC power adapter, and then whatever else necessary in here. Also has a little handle, which is cool. Like for me personally, I hate carrying things, and I would probably put this in my backpack once again, just so it has a bit of protection, but this is nice to have, makes it more convenient. Like all the materials and stuff feel nice. You know, it's got like this soft interior and all that kind of stuff, and the hard shell with a little bit of flexibility to it. It's nice. And as promised, let's try this with the tracks. So like that is a fairly snug fit. There's a bit of a gap between the bottom of this and the floor of it, but it's not like clamping onto it too hard. And so I would probably put something here as a bit of a buffer so it doesn't like knock around too much, but this could work. Although it's not like necessarily custom built exactly for this specific shape. And finally, the third one that they sent over is the one for the model cycles or samples. I believe they're like the exact same form factor. This is probably like the snuggest fit, which is neat. And then once again, I probably put a cable in here or possibly like stack it on top of here so it's not like bonking on the buttons at all. And this is same deal where it's got the handle, protect your electron stuff. And for this, having a cable pouch is really nice because like you need a power cable of some sort to even run this thing. So those are the cases, like for traveling with your electronic music production gear and just protecting it in general. You know, I could probably stack these and not worry too much about it because these devices are fairly light anyway. If you're trying to like travel with your gear and keep it protected, this is definitely a good way to go. So beyond making your gear kind of more carryable and better protected, let's talk about some other ways to make your music production with this kind of stuff more portable. First of all, I would highly recommend getting a portable charger. This is the Anker PowerCore Fusion 5000, and I'm sure that there's a newer model of this. I've had this thing for ages. I originally just got it to charge my phone. Like it's got, you know, your little USB ports and it just plugs directly into the wall to charge itself. And it's just a basic little phone charger that can be either plugged in or used entirely portably with its own built-in battery. So, you know, a little power bank. This can be used to power synths if they are kind of small and portable already and need that kind of powering. For instance, the Novation Circuit Trax has kind of a small battery, only lasts about 4 hours. This is enough to power it, impressively enough. Same goes for the OP1. I've used this to power the OP1 quite a few times, and I believe I could probably use this to power the Roland MC101 as well, if I didn't feel like using AA batteries. This is really handy to have. It keeps your portable synths portable and allows you to power them if the built-in battery needs to be charged. Super nice to have. So that takes care of power. If you also want to record completely portably, you could try recording into your laptop. That's totally doable, either with or without an audio interface. I did a whole video on that about using like a headphone splitter to just record directly into your computer's audio input and still hear your synth with no latency. I've done that many times. One thing I've also done is used a handy recorder. This is the Zoom H1. I think it's around $100. This is a completely completely self-contained little audio recording device. It just records stuff onto a micro SD card that you insert, and then you can just drag that stuff onto your computer. Super handy to have, super small and portable. I would recommend for the Zoom H1 getting some kind of like attenuator, because the line in is not truly a line in. Like, it doesn't record line level, it records mic level. And so if you have your synth turned up kind of loud, it will clip. And I have turned like the input volume all the way down, and it's still possible to clip with something that's not all that loud. So if you can get a cable, something like audiophiles would use as like an attenuator to basically reduce the volume that hits this, you'll be able to monitor your synth quite loud, but record into this quite quiet so you don't risk clipping. Basically, you want to turn the input into a line level input using a cable, and those don't have to be all that expensive. And of course, you could use something like the Zoom H4n, which has more inputs and more features, Zoom H6, something by Tascam, which I'm sure are great as well, although I'm not super familiar with them. Anything that is a small, portable little handy recorder can be really nice to have, especially if you're trying to record things like synth jams in cool locations, which I've done many times. In terms of monitoring, I should also mention these. I have mentioned these on this channel before. These are just a super cheap pair of Panasonic earbuds. These just like get rolled up and then live in my pocket most of the time. They're cheap, so I don't mind kind of treating them poorly. I can always replace them later. They sound reasonably okay-ish for at least just hearing what I'm working on. That helps make stuff much more immediate. And it's like, if I want to make music, I've got my groovebox, I've got my headphones, and they're just there. And that makes that easy to deal with. I don't have to carry around a ton of stuff. And then once again, I've got this with me as well if I want to record anything. That's super nice to have. Obviously, I would recommend monitoring with something higher quality, but in a pinch, a cheap pair of earbuds can absolutely do the trick. And finally, I want to mention really small devices. Like, there's some weird stuff out there. Like, I've got the Artifon Orba here that I still need to make a full video on. I am getting there. And then making music on your phone, like just to capture ideas, is a great way to do it. You can record into like a voice memos app if you just have a little melody idea that you want to quickly get out of your head, or get an actual app. I've done videos with Caustic 3 before, because that's one of the better apps out there for Android, because we Android plebs do not get as much stuff, unfortunately, which is sad. And of course, there's a ton of stuff out there for iOS. There's Andrew Huang's app, which I still need to give a go as well. There's Oxy, people like Core Gadget. There's a ton of stuff out there for either just coming up with ideas or laying down ideas, or even making full songs. Apps are something that is very much worth looking into. And of course, if you're coming into this with not a lot of familiarity with grooveboxes, I have done many videos on them. I'm going to link a few specific ones on the sidebar over here. I highly recommend giving those a watch if you want to go down that particular rabbit hole. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with a new video in a little bit. Peace.